Well, well, well. Aloha kakahiaka, everyone, and happy new year and welcome. Welcome to our first show of 2024. I'm your host, Peter K, and you are on the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got a lot of fun stuff planned out for you today. So, let me. We're going to try something new today. We're also going live on Instagram. So if you're an Instagram fan, let me know because that'll give us something to kind of work on or talk about, etc. Okay, so what's the news today? So a lot of fun. We got some good Hawaii news to you with fireworks. I have a special fireworks show to share with you today. You do not want to miss this. We're going to do our normal market updates. I know we're going to have some interesting conversations about what's going on in the real estate market in Hawaii for 2024. And a part of our show for the 2024, I'd like to start out with some predictions. So I'm going to be asking our experts here for their predictions. And the most important part is going to be your questions. Make sure you put your questions in and let us know what you'd like to know. We're going to be covering some diamonds and deals from properties, some real estate properties that are beautiful or some that are great deals, diamonds and deals. That'll be for you. And we're going to be closing up with our motivational thoughts. There's chapters in the video. If you're not watching this live, today is the 5th of January 2024. If you're not watching this live, you should be able to kind of click through on chapters and get to where you want to go on the video. All right, so we're gonna warm up because we've got our friends here with us, and we've got Heidi Dollinger, who is with us from Maui, and we have Ashliey Wasson, who is with us from Oahu, and we have Nonaka, who is with us from the Big Island. Welcome everybody, welcome. Let's go counterclockwise. Let's go clockwise here. We're gonna warm. This first part, we're gonna warm up the microphones, right, to get everybody up to speed. So Heidi, warm up the microphone. Heidi, what's the coffee today? What's Maui? How's Maui doing? How are you doing in this first show of our year?
Great. Well, happy New Year, everybody, 2024. I do believe this is going to be a really great year. We celebrated the new year by watching a whole bunch of fireworks from our lanai. We just sat out on the lanai and people in the neighborhood shoot off these huge fireworks. We can even see over to Molokai, all kinds of firework displays going on over there. So that's how we rung in the new year this year.
Yeah, the fireworks that there's a discussion I've got ready for us on the fireworks. It's so much fun. I had some great experiences. I'm sure that you all have. Ashliey, how is the windward side of Oahu doing? How are you doing on this first day of our New Year show?
It is so amazing. The weather is perfect. It's just the amount of rain and sunshine. We're getting our house painted right now. So nothing just feels more fresh and beautiful than a fresh painted house in a new year. I'm so excited.
Fresh painted house. Yeah, you're right. The weather has been so perfect. We've got some family visiting, and the day they landed was the first day of the perfect weather, and it was like, man, we went swimming. It was just absolutely fabulous. Light winds. It was just the perfect time to go out in the water. Low surf. It was just awesome. So, Dylan, what's going on, buddy? How's the Big Island? How are you doing? What's happening?
Same, weather's perfect over here. Had an awesome holiday. As we we're talking about pre-show, I had a little bit of a cold or under the weather during the last week, so my voice is kind of still weird, but we'll get through that. I'll warm it up, and it'll be a good show.
If you didn't say anything, I would have never guessed. Like right now, I mean, it's kind of funny because in the pre-show right away I picked up it, but right now for some reason, if you didn't say anything, I would have never guessed that you have a cold. So
perfect.
So keep it up, and yeah, and Dwayne's with us. Dwayne Kawile or Carwile. Dwayne, I have to remember. Do I pronounce this in a Hawaiian pronunciation or do I use the English pronunciation? Right? If it's Hawaiian pronunciation, it's Kavile. Dwayne Carvile, but it's a Dwayne Carwile, I'm sure. Dwayne, how's it, guys? Welcome, Dwayne. Good to see you. Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. All right, hey, we're just gonna move right along over here, and I got some new. So I'm gonna pop into some news, kind of, sort of, but let's hit the fireworks part here. Okay, so I've got a video here. We had like you, Heidi, we had, and I'm sure all of you, there was an amazing fireworks show. And, I think I'm going to hold off on this till later because I want a few more people to kind of jump on the show. So let's do this. Let's kind of flip into some news, and we'll talk about as people are coming in. Yeah, there's Kinaya. Hey, Kinaya. Aloha, Austin. Got all my boys watching with me. Miles, James, and Nico. Hey, Miles, James, and Nico. I'm so glad you guys are hanging out with your mom to watch the show. I hope you guys are going to enjoy it. We got a fireworks show. a really a different kind of a fireworks show that you don't expect, but it's a Hawaii only fireworks show. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year, Auntie Joan. Welcome back. Good to see you. Glad that you are with us here on the first show of our year. All right, let's do some quick news, and then we're going to come back because I want to talk about the Hawaii fireworks. It's a cool thing. All right, so Guy Fieri, I don't know if you all heard of this or caught this news, but Guy Fieri put out a 1.2 million. His foundation, with conjunction with like American Savings Bank and a few others, put together a $1.2 million foundation. Raised $1.2 million to help out the folks in Maui and Lahaina. And apparently, what's going on with that is it is going to the $600 each are going to restaurant workers in Lahaina. So that's kind of cool. So Guy Fieri and his foundation teamed up, and they're reaching out to thousands of workers, giving them $600 prepaid debit cards, which is really, really cool. Haiku Stairs is still standing now. Haiku Stairs is an iconic daredevil level, extreme sports kind of a thing in Hawaii and on Oahu. It's illegal today. You're not supposed to go there. It's walled off, it's fenced off, but people still break in and go. So it's one of these things it's one of these great examples, and like fireworks, these great examples of something that's illegal that everybody does. Anyway, so there's a battle over destroying the store, the stairs, demolishing them, and versus keeping them. So it looks like there's some legal fights that are going over this. So that's going to be kind of cool. It looks like, Dylan, I want to hear, I don't know if you heard about this or not, but there's fewer choppers over will be allowed to fly over the volcanoes on the Big Island. So if you have been ever thinking about taking a chopper tour over the volcano, this is probably the time to get it done, because the prices are going to be going up as the federal plan will be limiting the number of helicopter tours in Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. And then finally, mainland migrants will be needed. Apparently, what is going on is that according to some reports and some forecasts, the island state has too few homegrown construction workers to handle the coming surge in government projects, so labor must be imported. So if you're in the construction industry, this is something that you'd want to be thinking about. In addition, there's another statistic that Hawaii's population growth will be shrinking. That's Hawaii's sort of native grown, native born, i.e. those that are born here, that population will be shrinking. And so any growth in Hawaii is going to come from the U.S. mainland and the rest of the world. I don't know what that means exactly, but it means that there's going to be more people from outside of Hawaii coming to Hawaii, which is why they want to be watching this show. So anyway, hey, why don't we do this? Let's go counterclockwise, and why don't we, Dylan? Let's talk about what's going. Let's do some market reviews. Tell us what's going on. Oh, I got a question first for the Ohana. First question for the Ohana, real quick. So, what will you complete in 2024? It's like, instead of asking you kind of what's your New Year's resolution, I don't want to hear about I do want to hear about your resolutions too. But what I really want to hear about is, what do you think you're going to complete? What is your goal to finish in 2024? That's what I'd like to know. If you got that, pop it in the comments. We'd like to hear about it. Meanwhile, let's do a bit of a market update. Dylan, why don't you share with us? And I think we got some numbers that you want to play around with. Why don't you give us a thing of what's going on the Big Island? How's the market? And I've got those slides ready in case you want to talk about them. Go ahead.
Yeah, just kind of geeked out over the weekend on market data for the whole state, just to kind of see and put into context. I like to understand what's going on, not just right now, but compare it to historical perspective and see what that means and what we can draw that out of that data going forward. And it was definitely an extremely slow year. That's the headline in terms of the number of properties that sold on every market across the state. Definitely here on the Big Island, 4,500, which is historically lower than kind of around the 5,000 plus that we normally see on the island. And so that trend continued downward since 2021, and it'll be interesting to see if this is the bottom, or if it continues to go that way, because the other huge headline, which we talk about regularly on this show, is that inventory is not recovering, right? And that's a huge one. Is if you look at, even though there's an extreme drop in the number of sales over the last 2 years, if you look at 21 and 22 and then 23, significantly lower sales number of sales, the number of active listings on the market has not recovered. It's gone up a little bit, 10%, like little bit. But if you compare it to pre-COVID, we're still down like 50%, the number of normal listings that are on the market. That's pretty true of all the islands. And so going forward, I'm going to talk about predictions later. That's definitely going to affect the market, even if activity stays low. If supply is low, there's still enough demand there to keep prices stable or continuing to rise. So that's the short story. I mean, we could dive deeper into it if we want to look at the actual numbers, island by island. But the short story, kind of across the board, statewide, has been less sales, but no recovery in inventory.
Is there you put quite a bit of work into those tables? Is there either of those tables that you'd like me to bring up on the screen that makes?
I think the first one, we can run through the first one just real quick, and of course, if somebody wants to dive deep into this stuff, reach out. I can send it to you. But this just breaks down the number of sales in 21. So the top table is number of sales. The bottom table is number of listings, and the qualifier here is listings. It's not the total number of listings for the whole year. It's the number of listings that were on the market in December of that year. So it's a point in time, but it gives us a pretty good indication, because normally the number of listings throughout the year stays pretty same month over month. But just showing that, if you look at Oahu, there was 12,000 sales in 21. There was 7,600 in 23. And Big Island, there was 7,600 sales in 21. There was 4,500 in 23. 40% drop. And same thing on Maui and Kauai. I mean, 54% drop, 56% drop in the number of sales. But if you look at the bottom table and the number of listings that are on the market, although they've gone up a little bit, it's not significant. It's 12%, 1% on Maui. I mean, Maui almost has the exact same number of listings that it had in 21, but it has 54% less properties selling. So really interesting dynamic that's going on. If you look at the next slide, if you go to the next one, this gives you historical perspective. It has the listing, the numbers from 2015. So if we go back to 2015, very stable, normal market. Really the decade of 2010 to 2020 was pretty stable in terms of the types of numbers that we were seeing year after year. So 15 is a good sample number. But if you look, number of sales are down across the board, except for the Big Island, up 6%. But if you look at the number of listings, this is the big one, is on Oahu down 22% versus 2015. On the Big Island down 54%. Maui is down 65%. Kauai is down 62%. So the number of listings, the reduction in the number of listings far outpaces the reduction in the number of sales. And so that, that is gonna, if you just look at a supply and demand curve, pretty much tells us that going forward, I mean, if you're looking for some kind of, market crash in 24, it's not coming.
So what I'm hearing you say is, according to the numbers that you've pulled up and shown over here, what my pea-sized brain is trying to extract here is that the number, there is going to be price support. You don't see prices crashing, because while the sales are down, the listings are way down. So that means that there's less supply coming onto the market. Because there's less supply, the demand, like you called it, the demand price curve, there's less supply, which means the prices, there's a good chance the prices will be supported. So even though the sales are down, supply is down more, which means that prices should stay. Is that a fair summary?
Yeah, and economically, you got to look at, if you just look at one piece of data like the number of sales, you can draw all kinds of conclusions. Like, hey, demand is gone, people no longer want to buy. There's way less activity when you have this huge drop. But a drop in the number of sales can be driven by two things, right? One is a reduction in demand. People no longer want to buy that thing anymore. But the other reason that the number of sales can drop is because there's just not as much stuff to buy, right? So if you go to the store and there's lots of apples, it's either that nobody wants to buy apples anymore, or it means that there's no more apples to sell. So that's why you're not selling apples anymore. So you got to look at, what is causing that. And to me, the cause of it is inventory. It's not a lack of demand, right? People still want to buy. That pent up demand is there. And Ashliey talked about that earlier. There's a lot of pent up demand in the market that would buy if there was more inventory, but there just isn't. And that's been one of the things that's been suppressing overall market activity.
It's amusing to kind of see how that plays along. Really looking forward. Thanks, Dylan, for that update. I want to say hello to a bunch of other folks who have joined in and are sharing. Hey, Judy, welcome back. Judy is another one of our Islander Ohana alumni, as is Auntie Joan and Kinaya. And thanks, Judy, for being here. And she says our move to the Big Island will be completed. Congratulations. I know that is, Judy, it's been kind of really, really fun to share with you in your journey.
It's been a long road, but it's coming to an end.
Road.
Yes. Yes.
Judy, it has, right? Judy, can you pop a comment? How many years have I'm sure it goes back a lifetime, but like from the moment you've been a part of the Ohana has been several years now. How many years has it been? That's a great example of a long-term planner. And Kinaya, absolute goal is to move my family to Oahu. Kinaya, I had the pleasure of meeting you and your husband and your kids, your boys on Oahu, and I am looking once again to everyone dipping our toes in the sand at Makapu'u as we did that one time several years ago. So I'm looking for that. Hope make that happen, Kinaya. Auntie Joan says, resuming my profession in Hawaii. Okay, everybody, we should have a trivia quiz, like who knows Auntie Joan the best? Anybody want to kind of throw it in at what is Auntie Joan's profession? Pop it in the comments. See if you know. Would love to know. Yeah, who knows Auntie Joan the best? So pop that in. I'd like to see that. And an old friend, Tom Main. Tom, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me correctly, you're coming from the UK, if I'm not mistaken. Aloha, everyone. Happy New Year. Good to see you all again. Good to see you, Tom. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. And Heather says, aloha. From Oahu. Welcome, Heather. And Heather wins the prize. She is an actress. Auntie Joan is an actress. That is her profession. So Heather, I would say Heather wins the I know Auntie Joan the best club award. A lot of people are coming in. Hey, folks, let us know where you're from. Share with us. The question I've asked everybody is, what is it that you would like to complete for 2024? Please let us know. Love to share with what you've got. Aloha from the East Side, Big Island. Paul, welcome, Paul. Welcome, Paul. Welcome. Haven't you're a new Paul, and Dylan's giving you the shaka, so there's a connection.
Paul's a new agent to our team, so he's on the crew.
Awesome. Welcome.
So he can help you find out. He can help you find a property on the East Side.
If you want a property on the East Side, you want to hang out with Paul, who's part of Dylan's team. So Paul, I don't need to tell you this, but you know it. You have joined the best team there is, if not statewide, absolutely, certainly on the Big Island. There's no doubt about that. The coolest team there is, Dylan's team. A lot of folks are coming in, which is wonderful. Hey, Shelly, aloha from Oahu. Welcome, Shelly. Good to see you. I believe you're new, at least the first time you've commented, I'd like to recall. Judy says, I've been an Islander Ohana for a few years and have been friends with Dylan ever since too. I'm so glad. It's been a long journey, Judy, and I just can't wait to kind of know about that day when you're going to be landing in. Aloha Supernova, welcome back from the New York City. Good to see you. Happy New Year. Great to see you all back. This is so much fun. From the UK, correct? Yeah. Okay. The memory serves me right. Tom, I don't know, Tom, it must be your accent. It must be your English accent that I just can't get out of my mind, even though I've never heard it. But, those English folks have a great way of saying. Joan was a beautiful lady of Star Trek. That is correct. Joan was on Joan, would you kind of share with an episode? I'd like to know what episode that was, because I'm now going to go find that. It was, I think, Star Trek Next Generation, if I'm not mistaken. What episode, Joan? Or if anyone has the trivia question can be answered. What episode of Star Trek Next Generation did Auntie Joan did she appear in? All right, I think we got everybody kind of all taken care of. So we're talking about our market update. Ashliey, why don't you give us the update? What's going on Oahu? What are you seeing? We're going to do some predictions later, but I want to hear about what the market's been and what your take is or what's happening.
So the similar to what Dylan said, except for Oahu is a bit more active. We are the capital island of the state. The sales prices, the median's gone up for condos and single families combined to 780,000. Official statistics have not come out yet and been released for December. So this is just my brief overview, which would bring this up to the same as October 2022, which was the absolute peak. So that was a bit surprising for a December market. That's a holiday market. It's usually the slowest. And I know we've talked about this in episodes before, that I think nationally has seen an uncommon increase in market sales and volume due to in the holidays due to lack of inventory. So still fascinating. The average single family, the median home price though is down. It was over $1 million. It was about $1,080,000 the month prior in November, and in December it's down around 980,000. But condos have gone up a little bit, about 538,000. And then for the amount of sales, so closed sales are down just slightly, not too much, but we're also at almost one of the lowest closed sales, comparative to January 2023, which was the absolute lowest that we've seen since pre-COVID, was 432 sales for single family and condos. This does not include ag or vacant land. And in December, we've closed out at approximately 460 sales. So a lot of similarities. I think we're going to see that with all the islands, give or take, some variations there, but it'll be interesting to see. I'm excited to talk about our predictions for 2024.
Yes, I'm excited to hear about those predictions. And before we jump over to Heidi, Auntie Joan has responded. I was on Star Trek The Next Generation 1.5 years and Star Trek Voyager 6 years. Oh my, wait a minute. Okay, Joan, I need to have like an episode or a zone that I can kind of find and go to and look, because I was a pretty pretty hardcore Star Trek guy, and I want to kind of go back and kind of see Auntie Joan in Star Trek. That's awesome. I didn't realize it was that extended. That's cool. Heidi, give us the Maui update. Heidi, if you would please also just give us a thing of how is Maui doing? How is it? What's the feel? Because you live in Lahaina. If you have, share a little bit about that. But I'd like to hear about the market. What's your take, and a little bit about kind of how are you folks doing? How's Lahaina doing? How's that coming along?
Yeah, well, there's some interesting market dynamics going on right now on Maui. I mean, there is a huge push by FEMA to relocate fire survivors into longer term, more stable housing. And how they are seeking to do that is getting short-term vacation rentals to convert to long-term rentals. So there's a big push for that going on. They're providing a lot of incentives. I mean, paying very high rents. Also, I've seen some information about offering to pay for the HOA fees and potentially 12 to 18 months free property tax. So they're really working hard to relocate fire survivors, to at least give people a condo or a place they can stay for the next 18 months to potentially 2 years, when hopefully there'll be some other kind of housing they can move into. So it's kind of creating an interesting dynamic with some uncertainty in the vacation rental market. There's also some buyers out there who are looking specifically to buy and take advantage of this program and rent to FEMA as their objective. So it's an interesting time, but I just really do hope everybody who needs a home can be relocated into a more stable situation, because I mean, living in the Hyatt, while it sounds amazing, it's probably not where you want to live for a couple years in a small hotel room with no kitchen. And then the market otherwise on Maui, I mean, Dylan gave a great macro view. I mean, looking over the years, it's continued. I mean, number of sales is down compared to past years. December, we did see a little bit of new uptick in new listings and sales. And beginning of the year, January, there's been a lot of activity so far, just the first 5 days of the year. We did have a couple closings on Maui, 10 million and above in McKenna, a luxury development, Aloha in Wailea, that just completed. So there were a whole bunch of closings there, like in the 2.5 plus range. So yeah, we keep on going on. I'll save my predictions, because
Save those predictions. Yes. We just keep on going on. It's gonna. Well, I mean, I'm gonna. This is not a predict. Well, yeah. Okay. I'm gonna save my prediction about Maui. From what you just said, I came up with a prediction about Maui as well. But hey, first we need to say hello to a few of our friends who are coming in. Barbara, welcome. Barbara, welcome back. Barbara, Happy New Year, everyone, and aloha from North Idaho. Barbara, please correct me if I'm wrong. You're 96 years old. I think you are the most senior of our audience here. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Happy New Year, and I hope you're keeping warm in North Idaho. It's freezing out there. Jackie Mead Hansen. Jackie is a wonderful Islander Ohana alumni. Heidi, that's great to hear. For those who need the place to live after helping over there, I saw the need is great. Jackie, we almost have to do a show. Jackie went to She lives on Oahu, and she went to volunteered with the Red Cross, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if I'm wrong. To help out with some volunteering in Maui, and came back with some amazing, miraculous stories of some families that were saved and how they survived. Really some amazing stuff. So thank you, Jackie, for doing that, and thank you for the comment. Yep. The housing need is going to be great. And Bob Carl's back. Hey, Bob, welcome back, Bob. Aloha from Hawaii Kai. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. And hey, if you haven't, if you're just joining us, here's what we're trying to figure out, gang. Went to comment in. Whoop, wrong way. This way. Okay. Here's what I'd like to know. I would like to know from all of you that have joined us, what are you planning on completing in 2024? Not so much a New Year's resolution. I'd like to know what you see coming to a completion in 2024. I hope you can comment on that, because I would certainly love to hear about it. And before we move around to our next thing, Alex is back. Hey, missed the Friday shows. Glad you guys are back on. Happy New Year. Happy New Year's, Alex. Welcome back, buddy. Yes, we took a break. I mean, we took a Christmas break, and I guess it's nice to be missed. It's nice to be missed. All right, so a little break over here from the thing that I've been dying to kind of share. So we're talking about. I wanted to bring up this thing about fireworks, right? So fireworks in Hawaii is really kind of a special thing. Fireworks in Hawaii goes back a long tradition. I'm going to guess it. A large part of Hawaii has a Chinese cultural heritage. Chinese and fireworks and New Year's, like, they go together. So New Year's has been a huge thing for fireworks, much bigger than the 4th of July, than Independence Day. So I have my wife and I were cruising around and on YouTube, and I found this amazing video of this amazing an amazing fireworks show. And I want to first give a shout out to Hawaii John. There's the YouTube link there, youtube.com/@HawaiiJohn. Hawaii John does these great videos where he basically mounts a camera on his car under great conditions and drives around, sometimes walks around. He's got these great sort of driving and walking videos. And as someone who does driving videos myself, I was kind of drawn to it. So Hawaii John, I want to thank you for that. So, okay, everybody, I want to show you all the amazing light show, the amazing fireworks show that we attended. So check this out. It might be a little bit dark, but I want you all to look at this. Okay, look at this amazing light show. You all see those fireworks over there? It may be hard to see. And you see there's like police, there's cops there's police cars on the left and right, but look at that array of fireworks. That is right around midnight. So if you want a free, amazing fireworks show on Oahu, just drive down a certain part of the freeway at midnight, and you're going to see this. You're going to see fireworks going bonkers, the entire state. The whole state was lit up, right? I'm sure the whole state was lit up, but certainly the whole island was lit up at midnight. And fireworks here's the fun part, right? This is the great one for you, Dylan, right? Fireworks are illegal. They're illegal in Hawaii. And the most illegal fireworks of all are aerials. Aerials were always illegal, even back when fireworks were legal. A long time ago, fireworks were legal in Hawaii one time. And even back when fireworks were legal, aerials were massively illegal. So I just thought it was a trip. And I think the funny part is that one of these sort of unintended consequences, right, of that. A long time ago, fireworks were legal. You could have walked into, CVS. I remember walking to, I don't know about you guys, but I remember walking to CVS and buying a ginormous roll of 10,000 firecrackers, literally 10,000. It was a giant roll. And I would, bring it and unroll it and, let it rip. And everybody was letting it rip. And you would drive around the next day and the streets were red. They were all red because of all the paper, of all the fireworks. Now they're illegal. So everyone's doing aerials instead. More illegal, more dangerous, more fire prone, more everything. I don't know. Anybody Dylan, why don't we kind of go, throw any comments out about the fireworks? Heidi, you said you saw the fireworks. Were they legal or illegal fireworks? I'm going to guess they were mostly illegal fireworks. The fireworks show from your lanai. Dylan, what's is Big Island legal or illegal fireworks though?
It varies county to county. So Big Island, you still can get fireworks like the sparklers and the fountains and then the firecrackers on the rolls. You can still get those. You actually need a permit for those. You got to pay the county like $25 to get a permit to get the firecrackers. It's kind of silly. So they've modified them and made different types now where it doesn't make as much trash. So that's nice. But yeah, we've talked about it in the past, right? Like, just this the complete government failure to. I mean, it's funny when they make something illegal, and it's like just the most ridiculous display of defiance that you've ever seen. But I heard a really interesting perspective on this from Augie Toba, a city councilman on Oahu. And if you guys don't know who he is, he's actually an entertainer, a comedian, really funny guy, really smart guy. And I'm really glad somebody like that got elected to the county council, because, you know, a lot of times you wouldn't see somebody, you know, that celebrity type or somebody who's been a jokester his whole life get elected. But he's really good perspectives and really smart guy. And he posted a video talking about, are we really living paycheck to paycheck? Are we really struggling? Are we really being priced out of paradise when we can spend? Because as I have lots of personal experience with people who buy these illegal fireworks, and they are extremely expensive. I mean, you can one shot can be several $100s. You know, one cake that does the aerial things can be several $100s. So you can easily spend $5,000 or $6,000 to have that kind of show at your house, and you're literally just burning it, right? I mean, so it's an interesting perspective on, you know, if things are really as bad as everybody says it is, then how are we spending like literally millions and millions and millions of dollars if you aggregate all of the illegal fireworks that are purchased and blown off at midnight? How bad off are we? Because these neighborhoods that you're driving through are not rich neighborhoods, right? These are like the middle class, normal neighborhoods that have the craziest. I mean, if you go on like the super high end gated communities, they're not doing this stuff, right? This is like the regular local folks that, you know.
Well, that's a testament to priorities. So they could still be poor and borderline homeless, but this is about priorities.
I guess.
Well
And
said,
you're not,
Ashley.
and you're not putting illegal fireworks on your credit card, right? You're buying them with cash. So it's like, it's not like you're putting them on
Buying them with
credit,
cash.
you know. So
Yeah. But there's sacrifices you'll make, thou shalt not say, to make this happen.
apparently
It's so damn funny, right? Because you know that drive, that excerpt of 30 seconds. I mean, Hawaii John's video goes for 14 minutes, and it's not like a rolling video. So, and it's just like the whole darn video. My wife and I were like mesmerized, like, holy crap, look at what's going on over here. That's millions of dollars literally going up in smoke, right? Going up in smoke.
I mean, in my neighborhood, it's 45 minutes. I mean, it starts like, you know, maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes before midnight, and it goes for, I mean, and it's just constant. I mean, like it's like $200, $200, you know, like, so you can just start racking up the cost.
So Heidi,
if you're thinking about how much they cost, you're losing the point.
That's what I'm doing.
But actually, I thought fireworks were legal. I mean, until a couple days ago when somebody told me, just because they're everywhere and I see people selling them. They're 4th of July, New Year's, tons of fireworks everywhere. I mean, I really genuinely thought they were legal. But then I just saw a news article that in the next legislative session, they're going to be evaluating the new task force for enforcing illegal fireworks. Like, so
The task force is buying them. If anything, they're taking their cut to get off the top.
But I mean, not everybody in Lahaina this year was really excited about all the fireworks, because I mean, there are people and pets that are still pretty traumatized by the wildfires. And
oh God, yeah.
there were postings on social media like, don't set off fireworks. So I thought, I was actually surprised to see as many fireworks as we did, because I know there were some people, you know, really not wanting to have a major display. And watching that video you shared, Peter, I mean, that kind of terrifies me. I don't know if I want to drive down that road with all those fireworks.
Oh, you know, I got to tell you, Heidi, and I am serious. This is going to be the event we're going to do next year. My wife and I next year for New Year's, we're going to go and drive down that. We're going to go and drive down that highway, because that is the best fireworks show you could ever possibly have. I mean, I know I don't know if you folks know, but there was like, there's cops. There was really a couple of funny things about that video. First of all, there's cops on both sides of the freeway. And the reason why the cops are there in the shoulders is because they don't want people pulling over, because people are pulling over to watch the fireworks. So they don't want people pulling over. That was one thing. And then the other funny part about that, really funny, is if you watch the video, you'll see that the leftmost lane is completely empty. It's completely, there are no cars in the leftmost lane of all the cars. There's a lot of cars in the rightmost lane and a lot of cars in the center lane. And why is that? Because they want to go slow, because they all want to watch the fireworks. It's the new fireworks show. It's the new fireworks show. I want to do a quick shout out real quick to a few folks who have jumped in. Want to kind of get their thing before we move on. Let's see. So we have, She Who Laughs is back with us. Happy New Year. Welcome back, She Who Laughs. Good to see you. Love the name. Welcome back with us. And Kinaya, I plan to complete the Honolulu Marathon again. Excellent. Good on you. Definitely want to see about that. This is something new. This could be the safer alternative, but it's not going to happen in Hawaii. But Sue posted in Seattle, there were some incredible drone shows in addition to the fireworks. So cool. I saw a few of those on YouTube as well. They're amazing. What the drone technology is just crazy. By the way, that video, Jackie is commenting on Augie Tulba. He is great, and he is great. And by the way, Dylan, that video segment, we were driving through Augie's district. That was Augie's district that we were driving through.
That is, yeah, that's Waipahu, right? I mean, that's where he represents.
That's Waipahu, man. That's where it's at, man. That is where it's at. Thanks, She Who Laughs. Happy New Year, everyone. Aloha. And Vern is with us. Hey, welcome, Vern. Long time, if I'm not mistaken. I remember that voodoo last name is something that pops in my memory. How's it from the Smoky Mountains? Welcome. Heather's here. They started around here when the ball dropped in New York City. Yeah, 6 hours ahead. It got progressively crazier as the night went on. We love it. It helps our dog it helps that our dog couldn't be bothered. You lucky with a dog. I know we used to. Our dog, before he passed away, he would, like most dogs, was like flipping out because, gigantic booms, and, we live in a valley. So, the gigantic ones go off and like the whole house kind of shakes as it reverberates through the valley. But that's all part of the fun, if you can call it fun. Anybody else want to comment on this before we move on to our predictions for 2024? I'd like to hear it. Okay.
We had a major fireworks show at our house. We CBD'd the dog treats and their dog food, and then we lit off fireworks from 6 p.m. to past midnight. We had big 49 cakes and 30 shot cakes, and we had the 50,000 rolls of the firecrackers, and we're in a nice neighborhood too, so it was. The neighbors came out and they're like, wow, this is the best fireworks show we've ever seen. How's that permit? And I was like, it's in the house. But we had like 16 people over, friends, a family. Actually, it was their whole family came over. And yeah, all the kids just got to light stuff off, and they were having the time of their lives. And it was so much fun to be in that Hawaii experience, because I've been here 13 years. And I usually stand on the roof and I just watch the fireworks show around, and to actually feel it and light it and burn my fingers with it was an experience. I enjoyed it.
It's so funny because it's so true. I mean, yeah, this is a really interesting thing. It's like, I mean, this again, unintended consequences, right? When the entire culture is fundamentally moving and everybody loves it, not everybody, right? But the overwhelming majority, you can see by that video, right? The overwhelming majority, this is what everybody has been doing in Hawaii, probably for over 100 years, I'll bet. If there's some historical parts, it's been going on for over 100 years, since the first Chinese immigrants really came to Hawaii. And now, I don't know how many years ago it was, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever it was, it's been made illegal, and everyone's defiant. And so what happens on New Year's Eve is everyone becomes a criminal. Everyone's a criminal on New Year's Eve. And the police, of course, they're not going to, they can't possibly enforce it. So they're just going to do the best they can to kind of, keep people from pulling over onto the shoulder. There's a few observations that my learning lessons and my, experience in this is, one, there is something environmentally that happens in the island when that much activity occurs and it rains after. So I've always noticed it sprinkles rain after midnight. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that. And then we ended up all cleaning, the area after midnight. And then the very next morning, if you were to do that, we ended up waking up first thing in the morning around sunrise and just raking up our neighbors' yards. And with like a leaf blower and stuff like that when everyone was awake. And we cleaned up all of their yards and we cleaned up everything, because when it goes up into the air, the debris comes down somewhere, right? And
I did not know that. I did not know that I would be waking up that early and for like 5 hours cleaning up everyone's yard after. And I don't know if everyone walks around cleaning up their neighbors' yards after, but that was a lot messier than I anticipated. And those little red firecrackers, I want to ban those. Like, I don't like them. They are so loud and obnoxious and messy. And I want the ones that Dylan mentioned that don't have as much debris, because that little red stuff, it just goes everywhere. And they don't come in like 100. They come in like 50,000, 150,000 rollout sheets, and you have to hang them up into a pole, like straight up in the air. And there's a ladder, and he puts a pole and he extends the pole up into, and it's still rolling down the driveway. And it's just, I'm like, why? They're not big and boom in the air and sparkle down. They're not beautiful. They're just loud and messy. I hate those.
That is by design. That all those things are by design.
I
The
guess
design
it's
is
to scare the spirits away for the new year.
You're chasing away the spirits of the new year, and the red is significant as a significant color, and they're meant to color the place. It's supposed to be red. It's red dye. It's distributing, basically you're distributing red dye. That's the whole point.
And
That's
I'm a hippie. I avoid red dye at all costs.
I would say, Ashley, that you need to invent a green firecracker. That's what you need to do. A green firecracker that like somehow removes CO2 from the atmosphere as it explodes, or something kind of fun like that.
And plants grass as it falls down. Non-invasive grass.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Yeah, seeds
really
are embedded.
Contradictory statements. I lit firecrackers all night, and I'm a hippie.
All right. Thanks, everybody. This is great stuff. So, hey, folks, if you've had some fireworks experience, I'd love to kind of see your comments. Please share. All right, let's move on over here. We're having a good, fun show over here. I would like to spend a little bit of time on your projections. Predictions? I'd like you to these are predictions. We can't predict the future, but we just have to sort of extrapolate based on what we see. So if we can kind of make a quick, I'd like you guys to see if you can make a quick summary. What is the number one thing that you believe is going to be happening in 2024? Whatever it is, the number one thing that you believe is going to be happening in 2024. Let's go clockwise. Heidi, then Ashliey, and then Dylan. Heidi, what's your 2024 prediction?
Well, a lot of people believe interest rates will go down some later this year, which could stimulate some activity. I'm really thinking about what's going to happen in 1 to 2 years, when all these FEMA rentals are up, and just curious about what's going to happen on Maui, and if they are going to act quickly enough to create new housing for people to live. And like you mentioned in one of the earlier news articles, Peter, I mean, there's going to be a huge need for construction people here, and there needs to be housing for people. I think, tourism and vacationers are coming back to Maui. I mean, the level is less than previous years, but our industry is very resilient. So I think tourism will continue to pick up in 2024. And just because of the overall low inventory of housing, I mean, I think that's going to keep prices high. And then if interest rates get lower, I mean, that's going to make the market even more competitive for housing here. So those are my best predictions. None of us know the future, but
thank you, Heidi. Yeah, we don't know the future. My 10-second prediction is going to be there is going to be massive chaos in the Maui market, which is going to be opportunity for agents. So chaos is opportunity. So agents are going to do, smart agents like you, Heidi, are going to do fine, nimble, moving around. But man, all that government money sloshing around, all those incentives and those incentives, those artificial incentives and disincentives, and kind of financial upheavals. That is gonna be one wild ride of a market, and lots of opportunity in a wild ride of a market. Yeah, that's my prediction. Lots of craziness in the Maui market. Lots of craziness. Ashliey, what's your prediction for 2024?
I think 2024, overall for national market and Oahu, we're going to see an absolute stellar year. I think this is going to be one of the most active years in real estate because I do think the rates will have a down fluctuation. And I think that a lot of people are going to capitalize on the opportunities because they still have their jobs and their income and a lot of education out there about homeownership. I think, a short to semi, midterm prediction at 2 to 3 years. I'm very fascinated to see what will happen with the real estate landscape, with the lawsuits that are occurring with realtors and how that changes the momentum within buyers. And just education is such a huge and accessibility to education is such a huge push for getting people into homeownership and then helping sellers just navigate that process. And if that disappears or dissolves, I'm really interested to see how that's going to change the landscape. And also AI, which is just such an open-ended discussion, but how that's just going to overall affect people's jobs, how it affects everything that we do and how we know, our lives today, I think will be soon impaired in the next 5 years. So as far as 2024, I think we're going to have a killer year in real estate. And I think people should really look into getting into homeownership this year so that they have some type of stability.
You never cease to surprise me, Ashliey. Now jumping into AI as the self-appointed techno geek in the group. I'm impressed by that. By you venturing into that, it's going to be a big deal. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting year. And thank you for that prediction. I think, well, to me, it seems to indicate that the prices right now are probably at a really good place, or certainly it's a good time to buy because you've got some negotiation because prices are down. People are a little bit unsure. But there's not a lot of downward pressure on pricing. And so it might be it's always a good time to buy. Right, Heidi? Always a good time to buy.
I know. And everyone always says it's always a good time to buy. So it's always hard to hear realtors say is like, when's a good time to buy? And I feel like there's good times to buy. And then there's times that you should buy. I mean, you should always be looking to buy and make moves in real estate because it's always a smart move. But I think that the first few months of this quarter is truly a great time to buy and sell because there's no inventory.
Well, I like what you said, Ashliey, about stability, because that is so, having a place to live where you know that you can stay and you're not going to be forced out of, and having that stability and peace of mind to have a home, that is worth so much. So I really think the time to buy is as soon as you can afford it to get into something stable. Because our market's just going to keep on going. People that are hoping there's going to be a 20%, 50% drop, there's no current indicators that that's going to happen. If that were to happen, that would be some kind of catastrophic world event, nobody could predict. But the essential reason of real estate is to have a home or have a place, even if it's a part-time home or, whatever, it's a place that you spend your time. It's a place that you make memories. That's really the point of owning real estate, in my opinion.
Well said, Heidi. Before we move on to Dylan real quick, I want to, Ashliey, I'm sorry, you had a response. I got something for you, Ashliey, but go ahead.
No, just go ahead. It was more like the aspect of, in addition to the prediction, unfortunately, and I don't say this lightly, and I think it's absolutely heartbreaking. I think that there's going to be less local families that can afford Hawaii real estate. We're already down to 47% local families have been able to afford living here. And that's just expected to decline as well, because even if there was some major market shift, we're still in a limited commodity market, right? So even if everything was to shift catastrophically, Hawaii will probably still be one of those locations that money is going to come into. People with money are going to come into, just keeping the prices high and the market stabilized. So we really have to focus on trying to find some type of state programs that can help local families afford down payment assistance, loan products, and education for local families to try to keep them here. Because my sad prediction is that's just going to continue to be less feasible for local families.
That is a sad prediction that I also sadly agree with. Real quick, I want to actually, first of all, we had a comment from Jackie. And Jackie says, Ashliey, super cool board. Did Terry paint that? I don't know who Terry is, but hey, tell us about that awesome board you got back there. People, inquiring minds want to know. What's that board?
That is an artist. Her name is not Terry, and she is on the North Shore, and it's actually my friend's board, who passed away from cancer, she painted it for him. We were scuba divers, and this used to be in his living room, and someone had disposed of it, and I found it, and then I kept it. But I forgot her name. Unfortunately, he did open a gallery for her in Haleiwa, and when he passed away, the gallery had closed down before it even truly got off the ground.
That's a great story. Thank you, Ashliey. So, Jackie, now you know Dylan. Real quick before we move on, real fast, I'm going to throw in a comment here from Wayne. Says compostable fireworks sounds like a pretty good idea, actually. Well, there, okay, Wayne, make it happen, make it happen. So, Dylan, give us your update. Give us what is your prediction? Your prediction for 2024.
So I totally agree with Ashliey and Heidi on this. I'll predict that interest rates are not going to go below 6%. So that's something that if you're waiting for that, that's not going to happen. I don't think anytime soon. So interest rates will come down a little bit, probably not below 6%. My other prediction is there's going to be an election in 2024, and what's going to happen is that there's going to be lots of positive news media that will instill consumer confidence back into the public, and that's going to inspire them to then get back into the real estate market and create more demand. So that's one of the things I think that is gonna drive market activity. Is the psyche of the public is always super important, right? If they think everything's going to be bad, people pull back. And if they think things are going to be good, then they get back into it. And election years, a lot of times, depending on who the media wants to win, they're gonna support a narrative that supports that candidate. So that's one thing to think about going forward in 24 is that whole dynamic. And then the other huge demographic, cultural big issue in the country is that all baby boomers will be 65 years or older by 2030. And so we're entering the last few years of that transition, and millennials are taking over as the largest adult population in the country. And so that's going to create some change in terms of behavior on what they do, right? When you get beyond 65, people start doing things, and we're seeing this already in our market where people are selling off investments, right? So that's one of the unfortunate things that we're seeing is that people own like fourplexes or maybe multifamily units. They're getting to the point now where they're like 70 and they're like, you know what, I don't want to manage this thing anymore. My kids don't want it. Let's just cash out and sell it. But they've been charging like 40% of what rent should be for years because they're nice landlords and they own this thing for 20 years. And so they haven't been charging market rents. And that's going to create a dynamic, like going back to what Heidi was saying about having stability. You want to own because you don't want to be in a situation where maybe you're owning a rental, an investment property, you're in an apartment building or a multifamily that is owned by somebody who is aging out of the time where they're going to want to keep that any further. And they want to just cash out, maybe enjoy life, or maybe move that investment somewhere else, buy a retirement home where, they've always desired to live. So there's going to be a big shift in terms of, the generation that owns the majority of the investment real estate in America is getting to the point where they're getting to their later years, and depending on what their families want to do, and a lot of them, if they don't have kids, maybe are going to be looking to cash out, which will change a lot of ownership of those types of properties and affect communities on a micro level, right? That macro generational shift is gonna affect people that live in those apartments, live in those investment properties, that are renting those properties. So we're going to get into that. That's 24 is like that final stage of that shift demographically. And it'll be interesting next 5 years.
As one of the last of the boomers myself, I can attest a lot of truth to what you're saying. A lot of truth to what
you're thinking about
saying.
it, right? You're thinking about the next steps, right? What do the next 5 years look like? Things are going to change, right? They're not going to be the same. So yeah.
What a great added perspective.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Yeah, thank you. Yes, you're running the money because look, really quick. We're living in we got a house that's way too big because we're empty nesters. We had a house that that had a family of 5 in it, and now it's 2, right? So, do we need the house? No. Would it be better if we instead of the house we sold the house and bought condo or whatever, et cetera, et cetera? Those are the kinds of questions that we're thinking of. So yeah, it's a big deal. Great. Hey, you know what? We need to move on. But before we move on, really quick, I want to give some shout outs over here. So Vern says, Peter, that slide looks like Puhi, Kauai, with the mountain range in the background of the Queen. My hometown, miss it, but we'll be back soon. Well, thank you, Vern. I actually don't know where that picture is from, and I'll take your word for it, because if it's your hometown, that mountain range. I just found this, a freely in the public domain, and I thought it was a cool photo, and I posted it. So thanks, Vern, for pointing that out. Really appreciate that. And let's see here. Wayne says, would it be great if local communities invested in the workforce by buying those old fourplexes instead of hedge funds? Wayne, at the end of the day, people got to buy based on what the rate of return is, because hedge funds, people are investing money to make money, not to make the world a better place per se. They want to make the world a better place, but everybody wants the investment, and that's unfortunately what we have to take that into account.
But they're
Actually,
making
go ahead,
laws
because we got to
now.
go.
They're making laws now to try to cap what investment companies can buy. They can still buy fourplexes and multifamilies, but single family homes at least. So we should maybe talk about that on another episode.
I think
What
there's
does
like
that tell
4
you, right?
shows that can.
If venture
Go ahead.
capital firms are investing heavily in real estate, what does that tell you about the economy and what you should be doing? Right? These are the smartest people in the world. So, I mean, the smartest
That's
money
right.
people in the world.
That's right. And because it's too much of a good thing, the government's getting involved to kind of screw it up. So watch out for that, right? Because if it's too much, we're going to jump in and screw it up even more, like fireworks. Just like fireworks. Just remember, the fireworks analogy is the best one of them all. All right. We need to move on, gang. We've got a real quick one from Aaron, trying to decide if we're moving to the Big Island. Have about 350K. Aaron, there's a link in the description. If not, Dylan Nonaka, look him up. That's where you want to go, buddy.
Check out my diamond and deal that's coming up here in a second.
Oh, check out. Okay. Look at that. See, this is God's way of making it all work. Diamonds and deals. Stay tuned, everybody, because we're going to go for properties that have been handpicked from our experts over here. So let's go with the first one in Ho'olava Road in Huelo, Maui. Heidi, what's this?
So this is a property on 13.2 acres out in the country, out towards Haiku. You have an ocean view from that house. You can see it looks like a really well-built house, nice garage. It has solar panels. The property also comes with a barn, an egg storage building, and some horse paddocks. There's a Japanese garden, a pond, citrus and coconut trees, ohia trees. Looks like a beautiful retreat out in the country. There's also several building sites where you could build another cottage on the land, and it's listed at $2,995.
$2,995 in Maui for 13 acres. Man, that's a deal. That is I think, as far as I can see, I don't know what the market's like, but that looks like 13 acres. That's all 13 acres. That's all I register. Ocean view, 13 acres. Okay, do it. Thank you, Heidi. Excellent. Let's see who's up next over here. Okay, Tusitala. Oh, that brings back some old memories. Those are my old stomping grounds there. Ashliey, what do we got over here?
So I just 2-bedroom, 1 bath, a parking. This is off of a side street in Waikiki. You're not allowed to say walking distance, by the way, anymore. So if you're reading real estate descriptions, you can't say that it's walking distance to the beach. You can't say buy a jogging path. Yes, you are not allowed to. I have got pinged so many times from people, realtors, just typing away, being thumb keyboard warriors. So it is floating distance away to the beach. And it's just the absolute prime location. People do not move from this building very often. It is not the finest luxury building by any means, but there's a lot of high net worth individuals in it. They just love it. It's a vibe. It's a community in here. And there's a little community garden outside when you walk up. There's guest parking. Sometimes we park here when we go to the Shell to watch concerts, because you can walk a few blocks to the Shell and to the zoo. It's just a great location. Honestly, you've got the city view from here, and it's got a Jack and Jill bedroom there off the living room, and it's got a really sizable bathroom too. Love it, and it's under $500,000. It does have 100% hurricane insurance as well. That's something that you want to look out for when you're financing condos these days. If it doesn't have 100% hurricane insurance, you can't get Fannie and Freddie loans. So something to look out for when you are condo shopping.
Ashliey, you have struck a nerve there with Kinaya, who says Tusitala is my favorite block. We stayed there on 2 visits, and Waikiki Lanai. So there you go, man.
Great.
Kinaya, here you go, girl. This is it right here. 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 1 parking. Great place to kind of jump into. Go for it. All right. Excellent. All right. So Aaron, Aaron says, so this was the earlier comment that Aaron had made, right? Was trying to decide if we move to the Big Island, and Dylan says, stay tuned. And okay, so Aaron's got Dylan's email already. Excellent. Convince your wife. Listen, if you haven't, bring her into the show now, because Dylan's going to show you what he's got. So this is cool. Dylan, what are we looking at, buddy? This is cool.
Yeah, so here you go. 355, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. It's just 1,000 square feet, but just a little country house over in Hawaiian Shores. This is in Puna on the east side, but this is a readily available type of property. I mean, nothing crazy, nothing luxury, but a totally livable, nice house, 15,000 square feet, nice yard. Just this, it's totally attainable. I mean, living in on the Big Island for under 400,000 is definitely a possibility. And so, this is just one good example of that. You got to be okay with the rural nature, though. This is catchment water. I mean, you're in rural South Puna, but there's tons of stuff out there. There's a great new shopping center out there. There's a Popeyes. The only Popeyes in the island is in Puna right now. So there's things like that happening, which is huge. So it's a cool place to be.
Popeyes in Puna. What could be better? That is a sign of living large in Puna. Popeyes in Puna in Pahoa, right? If we're
there's no Popeyes in the resort areas, so
there's no Popeye. You can't get Popeyes in the resort area. So if you want Popeyes, you got to go here. So, right. Yeah, Aaron, you are welcome, buddy. Have a look at that, because Dylan nailed it for you. So hope that you'll have your wife, your lovely wife, join and check it all out. So good, excellent. All right, gang, it's perfect timing over here. We're gonna wind up. Oh, you know what? I didn't do my closing thought of all things. All right, so we're gonna do closing thoughts over here. So let's wind up with Heidi. Why don't you start us out? What's your closing thought, and how is it meaningful to you?
A wise man does not lay up his own treasures. The more he gives to others, the more he has for his own. Reflecting on this, I think this was my closing thought last month, but it's a great thought. And it's really about generosity and giving. And the more that you do give, the more that you get back. I truly believe that. And another closing thought I was kind of thinking about today is always say yes to the present. And just in times of change, I mean, you can get caught up being stressed about wishing things were the way they were, or being worried about what's going to happen in the future. And I think if you just stay in the present and have a spirit of generosity and giving, it's always going to be a great day, and you're going to be in alignment with the universe and your purpose. So
well said. Couldn't agree more. Telling that Auntie Joan says, by the way, folks, if you have a closing thought, please do share it with us. What's yours? And Auntie Joan never fails. Telling the truth faster enables us to live powerfully as ourselves. Well said. Thank you, Auntie Joan, for contributing. And Tom, good to see you, buddy. Glad that you're with us, and have a great day today. Thanks for the shout out. Beautifully said. Indeed, Momo. Thank you. All right, let's move on to Dylan. Dylan, what is your thing today, and how is it meaningful to you?
This is one I just reflect on all the time, during the new year and in the goal setting process and business planning process. But people overestimate what they can accomplish in a year and significantly underestimate what they can accomplish in 5. So just something to think about, in your planning process, and what your plan and what you plan to accomplish is. A lot of times we are too ambitious when it comes to a year, and we are grossly under ambitious when it comes to 5 years. And I've definitely been reflected on this. It's been 5 years. December was 5 years since we started this real estate operation, and it's ridiculous how far we've come in 5 years. And I would have never have thought that was the case. And but it's been one small year compounding upon one small year, and over 5, the direction is enormously different. And so just remember that. Give yourself grace if you don't do everything you thought you were going to do in a year, but over 5 you probably do way more than you thought you could.
That is a great line, man. That is excellent. Excellent. Thank you for sharing with that. That I can't believe it's been just 5 years. That is insane. I didn't realize it was just a 5 year your operation is only 5 years old. That's incredible.
The current
That's
the current
incredible.
operation. I was doing it for, I think I'm 8 years in now. But I mean, from when we started doing it, we're doing now with the team and stuff. It's been 5 in December. It's 5 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome, man. That's an incredible incredible accomplishment. A shout out to Kinaya who gives us a big amen, amen, amen indeed. Thank you, Kinaya. Really appreciate that. Ashley, your turn. What is yours, and how is it meaningful to you?
There will always be a way if you are committed. I think that with the new year, we all get our resolutions in place. We all have these, ambitious thoughts of what we're going to do, whether that's losing weight, being more healthy, making more money, setting big goals. In addition to just not following through with them and just revisiting them, I think just picking one or picking something that's most impactful and staying committed to it is the only way that you're going to accomplish anything. Where there's a will, there's a way. But commitment is huge, right? And it's hard to stay
Commitment
committed.
is huge. There will always be a way if you are committed, and that is at the end of the day, that's what it is, right? The only way to lose is to give up. It's the only way you lose is when you give up. That is the only way. And Momo says, congrats, Dylan, on 5 years. You guys are rocking it. Totally, right? It's completely rocking it. Thank you, Momo, for sharing that. And Sue says, just made it in time to wish you all Happy New Year. Well, thank you, Sue. That is the best part of all. You made it, and you wished us a Happy New Year, and Happy New Year back to you. And Alex says, we are the average of the closest 5 people we associate ourselves with. Thank you, Alex. That is an excellent point. I tell that to my kids very, very often. I reaffirm that to my daughters. Like, you know what? You're going to be the average of the 5 people that you are with. That is so well said. Pick your friends. Pick your friends and close folks carefully. I failed. I did not put together my closing proverbs, so that's okay, because look, I'm just off the top of my head. What I'll say is this: thoughts are things. Thoughts are things. What you think creates these things. So if you want great things in your life, think great things. If you want crappy things in your life, think crappy thoughts. The thoughts you create, the thoughts you hold will create the things that you have. How's that for off the fly, right on the call? The thoughts you hold will bring the things that, what the thoughts you hold will create the things that you will have. That's it for our thing. All right, folks, I think we had a great, phenomenal. What a great way to open up the year. Thank you so much. Let's go say goodbye and counterclockwise. Dylan, and then Ashley, and then Heidi. Thank you all for being here for the new year. Thank the rest of you for being here for the new year. Thank you for all your sharings. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Dylan, go.
Happy New Year, everybody. Have an awesome weekend.
Happy New Year's. Aloha.
Aloha, everybody. Have a great 2024 and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, everyone. Have a great 2024. Happy New Year. See you all in a couple of weeks. Aloha.